Hey there, YouTube. Welcome back. This is the Allegheny Northern in N scale, and today we're going to do the October 2023 layout update, and I'll show you all the good, fun stuff that happened on the layout here in October. And if you've been following along in the how-to series, you might have an idea of some of the things you're going to see today. Okay, first and foremost, let's start here with the obvious, the 3D printed lift and power cars for the welded rail train. Got those all painted up. If you want to see how I did that and have a little bit more of an in-depth look at the models themselves, there's a two-part series. The first part is basically getting used to the idea of having a 3D train car, because everything we've had printed up to this point has been static on the layout, but these ones actually move with the train. So we got ourselves a welded rail train, and yep, we're still looking for a good product to put on the rail cars here, but that hasn't been a priority project at the moment, so we're sort of just tabling that for now. But that train is on the layout and making successful loops, so I'm not getting too originally I was a little concerned about the weight of these cars, because they're just plastic, so there's no weight to them. They do rock a little bit, but they stay on the track. So other than getting them weighted, and someone had recommended, I believe it was the tungsten material that's used for fishing lures, that's kind of meldable and goes underneath, and you can cut it and shape it and form it. Goes underneath flat cars real nice, so I'm going to look into that as an option. Don't need to add a ton of weight, just enough to stop it from jiggling on the tracks. So we'll get a across the layout view there as it makes its way up the incline towards that's the inland intermodal yard up there. Alright, so I wanted to finish this winter scene here, and this is you recall we did a little bit of an infill here because I wanted to curve this fascia. So I've got, this is where the snow is going to end, and there's going to be some trees here to sort of separate these two scenes so they don't blend right in together. But we made the snowy fence fit in, put some snow on the cabin roof. A little bit of snow blown in there at the doorstep. And then, of course, we made it look like someone's been tending to kind of sort of a little country dirt road that's underneath there. But, at some point in time, all that shoveled snow sort of, these occupants have sort of given up in the middle of the storm here. And you can see where they've plowed some snow, but they're leaving it off to the side. And if you want to get an idea of the products that were used to do this, I have several videos on doing winter scenery, and kind of a bone to pick, but if you subscribe to Model Railroader magazine, which I still do, and you notice this past issue had a big winter scene on the front and said, doing snow on this layout, etc., etc. Then you go into the article, and the article is using a product that's no longer available to you. So why the editors thought that it was a good idea to use a product or display a product that, well, you can't get, I'm not sure. They do that from time to time. But to me, that doesn't seem like an article that's really worth running and, showing you how to do a winter scene that's, well, you can't do. So I was going to write a letter kind of saying, what the heck here? You're showing people how to do a winter scene that, they can't do, but I opted not to, because you folks here, how to get to my channel and find out exactly how to do a winter scene. that's more than just dumping woodland scenic snow on top of existing scenery. Okay, in addition to that, I completely updated the QAY Scene, and that was basically made with Talus from Woodland Scenics and some minor details. What I wanted to do was just bring out a more natural stone look. The stone was kind of what started off was I wanted to fix this road, right? So I wanted to have my drop belly truck come in, and the road was so rough that the drop belly didn't look appropriate. So it was a problem with the road, not with the truck. So I got that fixed. And then I realized, that color of stone really doesn't look right for a quarry in general. So I went back in and I added some different shaped stone in here and added these concrete jersey barriers, K-rails, whatever you call them from where you're at. Added that fuel tank behind that barrier. And then I realized, my trucks and my equipment, boy, they really need some attention. So I took all of that equipment off, and I went back through and I painted it up and weathered it up a little bit differently to make it look like it was a hard-working piece of equipment. And I'm very happy with the way this equipment came out. There's some fantastic molded detail on the models themselves. It just needed to lose that plastic shine and look more like a piece of heavy equipment that you would actually see out in the wild, so to speak. So I added that detail to give it that look. And so where paint would be scratched off and whatnot, bare metal exposed, I wanted to do that and show that. So happy with this scene. It just goes to show you I do go back and I will rework scenes that I've already essentially finished from time to time, just because there's always something better, and if it's something that annoys you enough, like this one did, eventually you'll get in there and add something. Need a lot more people on this scene, workers, but for now, until I get those people, this scene is much better than it was. Started building signals. I think everybody saw at least the first part of the signal building video, and that was adding the showcase miniatures, how to put them together, how to get them, the LEDs wired up. And so I've got a total right now of, I think, 15 or 16 signals built. So if you watch that series, or at least you watch part one, you know how far that I've gotten in that process. The signals do look absolutely fantastic. So I'm just showing you all the locations that I have them currently installed. They do look awesome. So I'm pretty excited about this. It's gonna be quite a process to get them on all of the layout, but that's gonna be the first major project into 2024. So I'm not really sure why it happened, but these three locomotives all of a sudden decided they were not going to play nice anymore. They were having trouble with the grades. I don't know if some of the wheels on the train started getting a little old and worn out. There's just too much friction or whatnot. But these three locomotives got the bullfrog snot treatment. Since they've received that, they have been running without an issue. So I also had to re-speed match them. I don't know what happened there, but they started not running well together, and they were fighting each other, and just had a bad couple of self-operating sessions there. So I got those, got whatever gremlins were going on there fixed, and also you'll notice that the welded rail train is being pulled by still a Southern and still a NS unit, but I believe they're ST60s, and they are Atlas. They are not the BLI models that were previously pulling them, and that's because I pulled those. I finally got frustrated enough with the Broadway Limited SD 40-2s that I pulled them off the layout. I've got them on the workbench. I'm going to see if I can get them to run better. I'm going to tweak them a little bit. Just try to mess with them and try to get them to work a little bit better. I've had the models for over a year, so they don't, limited warranty and all that sort of stuff being what it is. But they're just not running well, and so I figured I'm gonna tinker with them, see if I can make them run better. And if I can't, well, then I still have 2 locomotives that don't freaking work. So whatever, we're gonna see what I can do. I'll keep you posted on that. But these ones, these are old Atlas, not not sound equipped. They're standard DC. That's got a Digitrex drop in. But they run beautifully. They pull this entire train without needing any kind of bullfrog snot on them. They're little workhorses, and Atlas are good locomotives. So I'm gonna just leave that well enough alone. And let them pull that train. So I detailed up and built some 3D printed model kits. This is one of them right here. This heavy haul tractor, and the trailer that's attached to it is from a previous build, so that's not part of the set. But this tractor was, and it is it's awesome. It's a great model. So I got that baby built, and then let me take you for a quick spin here around the layout. Don't get too dizzy. Close your eyes if you got a motion sickness problem. But and bring you right on over here and show you this dump truck. And if you're following the communities tab, then you can see that you can see some pictures of this. This actually works. So this will dump, and I have the pistons actually sitting in the bed of the truck there. So you can prop that up if you want it to dump. The tailgate opens, and then you have a choice. You can either put that third wheel in the up position or the down position, depending on whether you want it hauling or empty. So I have him about to bust through my N-scale Democrats and get into the coal plant here, the coal mine, and get loaded up with coal. So like I said in my comments, you can never have enough triaxles, so I'm probably going to get myself a few more of those, make this road a little bit more busy coming out of the coal mine. Okay, and then the last 3D build was the dump trailer that I mentioned earlier. It comes with 2 different doors. One is in the open position, one is in the closed position, so you can sort of, model that however you want to. It's another awesome detailed 3D print, though all 3 of those vehicles came from the same location. So that tractor's from a previous Shapeways print, but it does the trick. So got that built up and painted. Okay, so I spent some time in the winter scene and putting in the bridge decks and filling in the scenery around those bridge decks, which previously I had not done, just because it was sort of an added task after I got the track up and running. But it really needed to be done because the bridges looked kind of silly if you were looking down in on them. And so it was made by just adding some strip styrene and then putting the flex paste over the top, followed by snow, and that was pretty much it on completing those decks. And then of course I put some snow and some melted snow on top of the bridge decks, as you would expect to see. And just to tie them into the scenery a little bit better. And then I did a little bit of work around the stream here with the same products, just to sort of blend the areas together just a little bit. And lastly, I got some basic scenery installed in this green area up on the upper deck. So originally it had just ground foam on it. I've added the static grass and then the shrubs and rough turf, and then blended everything together with some fine turf over the top to add some variation to the colors, and then also added these little grass tufts here along the sides and along the back. And then I did the same for that little island in the parking lot, and then added some grass back there to sort of hide the track just a little bit. And then I've spent some time cleaning and making sure all of this track functions, because I've got my little Elco up here, and obviously it is a little more sensitive to track alignment than the SD40-2 was, smaller wheelbase. So I wanted to make sure that it ran back and forth okay, and it does. Had to do a little bit of track adjustment and cleaning, but that scene is starting to come together a little bit better. Obviously, I've got to build some buildings here and finish off the roof on those and add details and whatnot, but at least right now it doesn't look like just a sheet of plywood. Okay, so that is pretty much going to wrap us up for the month of October. Yes, a lot of things got done, and hoping that continues here into November as the weather changes. And well, it's rained the last 3 weekends here, so really can't do much outside. In fact, I had to do the leaves, get the leaves all cleaned up right before it rained yesterday. Spent the last half hour actually working in the rain to finish it. And then only to wake up this morning and find out that all of my work was for naught, because all of the leaves are back on the yard. So that is pretty much the season we're in right now. And so that means much more train time and hobby time in general, which I am working on a commission right now. So that is going to take just a little bit of my time away from the layout and the projects. But we're starting a new month here, which means a new modeling budget, which means time to get a few more signals. So working on getting that put together here, and that's probably going to be the major focus of November, is getting more signals built and installed. Not quite operable yet. That'll be in a month or two. But getting those signals installed on the layout, ready to rock and roll. And then I'm going to continue cleaning up some scenery areas. There's a few other little things that I had done here in October that really aren't worth a mention, but just going around and fixing some stuff that I see that needs fixing. So I'm going to continue with those tasks. And we'll see you here at the end of November.